Today's topic is sharp, it's intense, and if you pay attention, even a little, it will change the way women respond to you forever. Because smart men don't attract women accidentally. They attract women strategically, not by bending, not by proving, but by refusing the things average men tolerate. And these refusals, they shift your energy instantly. They create emotional tension. They make women look at you differently, curiously, even obsessively. So let's dive into the 4 things smart men refuse, the 4 boundaries that create irresistible subconscious attraction. Stay with me till the end. Every point builds on the next. Before we dive deeper, a quick message. If you've been learning from my videos and you want to support this work, you can subscribe to me on Facebook with a paid membership, send stars, or join my YouTube channel's paid community. Your support helps me create more powerful content for you, and I truly appreciate every bit of it. All right, now let's continue. Number 1. Smart men refuse to overinvest in low-effort women. Let's start with the hardest truth. Most men lose attraction by giving too much, too soon, to the wrong woman. Smart men don't do this because they understand a psychological law. Investment creates value. When you overinvest in her, compliments, validation, attention, availability, she subconsciously thinks, if he's giving me all this, without earning it, maybe he doesn't have options. But when you match her energy instead of exceeding it, when you don't text double for her single, when you don't rearrange your life because she's free tonight, you create something powerful, emotional equilibrium. Women aren't attracted to men who are too available. They're attracted to men who are selective, and selection feels like value. This is where smart men win. They say, I'm not giving more effort than I'm receiving. And women feel that boundary. It makes them step up. It makes them invest. It makes them want to impress you. Let me be brutally honest with you about what happens in a woman's mind when she encounters a man who overinvests too quickly. She doesn't think, wow, this man really likes me, how wonderful. She thinks, this is easy, this is boring, this man will always be here so I don't need to try. Think about anything you've ever valued in your life. Was it the thing that came effortlessly? The thing that required no effort to obtain? Or was it the thing you had to work for, the thing you had to earn, the thing that made you prove yourself worthy of having it? The same psychology applies to attraction. When you make yourself too easy to have, when you shower her with attention she hasn't earned, when you're always the one initiating, always the one pursuing, always the one trying harder, you rob her of the opportunity to invest in you. And without investment, there's no attachment. Smart men understand this at a cellular level. They watch her effort level like a hawk. If she's taking hours to respond to texts, they take hours too. If she cancels plans casually, they become less available for the next invite. If she's lukewarm in her interest, they match that temperature exactly. This isn't game playing. This is self-respect in action. Because here's what most men don't realize. When you refuse to overinvest, when you maintain that equilibrium, you're communicating something powerful. You're saying, my time and energy are valuable. I don't give them away to people who don't appreciate them. If you want more of me, you need to show up properly. And women? They respect that. They might be confused at first if they're used to men falling all over themselves for crumbs of attention. But confusion turns to curiosity. Curiosity turns to intrigue. And intrigue turns to pursuit. Suddenly, she's the one wondering why you're not texting first. She's the one initiating plans. She's the one putting in effort because she realizes you're not someone she can take for granted. That's the power of refusing to overinvest. Number 2. Smart men refuse emotional manipulation, even the soft kind. Here's something few men recognize. Women rarely use direct manipulation. They use emotional manipulation, which is softer, subtle, and far more effective. Examples? Guilt tripping, silent treatment, emotional tests. If you cared, you would. Passive-aggressive responses, pulling away to see how much you chase. Smart men don't explode, argue, or get reactive. They do something much more powerful. They don't play the emotional game at all. They stay calm, centered, unmoved. Because they know psychology. The moment you become reactive, you lose leadership energy. And leadership energy is masculine energy. And masculine energy is attraction. Smart men simply say, I don't respond to manipulation. If you want something, communicate directly. That clarity is rare, and rare is attractive. Every woman notices the difference. She may push back at first, but eventually she respects you deeply, because emotional stability is the sexiest masculine trait there is. Let me explain why emotional manipulation is so prevalent and why most men fall for it every single time. Emotional manipulation works because it triggers a man's instinct to fix, to solve, to make the woman happy. When she gives you the silent treatment, your instinct screams, "Something's wrong, I need to fix this." When she says, "If you really loved me, you'd," your instinct wants to prove your love. But here's the dark truth. These aren't genuine requests for connection. They're tests. They're attempts to control your behavior through emotional leverage. And the moment you respond to manipulation, you've trained her that manipulation works on you. You've shown her that if she weaponizes her emotions, you'll dance to whatever tune she plays. Smart men see this pattern instantly, and they refuse to participate. When she goes silent to punish you, they give her space without chasing. When she guilt trips, they calmly state their position without defending or justifying. When she tests, they remain unbothered, unreactive, unmoved. This drives women crazy at first, but not in a negative way. It confuses them because it doesn't work. The tactics that have worked on every other man suddenly hit a wall with you, and in that confusion, something shifts. She realizes she's dealing with a different caliber of man, a man who can't be emotionally controlled, a man who stays grounded regardless of her emotional weather. That stability, that unshakable center, that's what makes a man truly attractive. Because deep down, beneath all the testing and manipulation, what a woman really wants is a man she can't manipulate, a man who remains himself regardless of her moods, a man who provides emotional stability rather than matching her emotional chaos. When you refuse to engage with manipulation, you're not being cruel, you're being clear. You're setting a standard for how you'll be treated, and that standard makes you infinitely more attractive than any man who bends to every emotional test. Number 3. Smart men refuse to abandon their purpose for a woman. This is the refusal that separates boys from men. Every high-value man knows, the moment you put a woman above your mission, you lose both. Women are not attracted to a man who gives up his priorities for them. They are attracted to a man whose priorities are bigger than them. Not because she wants to be less important, but because your purpose gives you direction, strength, self-control, ambition, emotional depth, a sense of identity. Purpose makes you magnetic. It creates an aura, the feeling that your life has weight. Smart men say, "I want you in my life, but my purpose is the foundation of my life." And women don't get turned off by this. They get pulled in. A man guided by purpose has a glow, a rhythm, a fire. It's not arrogance, it's self-leadership. And women are biologically drawn to men who lead their own lives. Here's what most men get catastrophically wrong about relationships. They think that making a woman the center of their universe is romantic. They think that sacrificing their goals, their time, their priorities for her shows how much they care. But it doesn't. It shows how little they value themselves. Think about it from a psychological perspective. When you abandon everything that made you interesting, driven, and masculine just to revolve around her, what are you communicating? You're saying, "I have nothing more important than you. My dreams can wait. My goals can be postponed. My growth can be paused. Because keeping you happy is the only thing that matters." And while that might sound romantic in a movie, in real life, it triggers something very different in a woman's mind. It triggers doubt. She starts wondering, if he gave up everything for me, what happens when someone better comes along? If his purpose was so easily abandoned, did he even have one? If he revolves around me completely, who is he without me? That's not attractive. That's terrifying. Because no woman wants to be someone's entire reason for existing. That's too much pressure. That's suffocating. That turns attraction into obligation. Smart men understand this instinctively. They know that their purpose, whether it's building a business, mastering a craft, getting in incredible shape, developing a skill, creating something meaningful, is what gives them substance. It's what makes them interesting. It's what creates the masculine energy that attracts feminine energy. When you maintain your purpose even while dating someone, something powerful happens. She sees that you're not malleable. You're not a leaf that blows wherever the wind of her attention takes you. You're a tree with deep roots. You have direction. You have conviction. You have a life that existed before her and will continue with or without her. And that's magnetic, because it means being with you is a choice, not a necessity. It means she gets to be part of something larger than just a relationship. She gets to be with a man who's going somewhere, who's building something, who's becoming someone. Women don't want to be your purpose. They want to be invited into the life of a man who already has one. That's the difference. And it's everything. Number 4, smart men refuse to chase love that isn't mutual. This refusal is the reason smart men never look desperate. They understand something fundamental. Attraction must be mutual, not forced, negotiated, or begged for. If she's hot and cold, if she flakes often, if she gives mixed signals, if she acts confused about you, smart men don't chase clarity. They create clarity, and clarity looks like this. If you're not sure about me, that's okay. I don't chase uncertainty. This boundary is powerful because it's rare. Most men try harder when she pulls away. Smart men step back. And here's the dark psychology behind it. When you refuse someone who expects to be chased, you instantly increase your value in their mind. It disrupts their pattern. It shakes their ego. It triggers curiosity. And it resets the power dynamic. You become the man she wants approval from, not the man seeking hers. And that shift? It's the foundation of attraction. Let me tell you about the most common mistake men make when they really like a woman. They confuse persistence with desperation. They think that if they just try harder, if they just prove themselves more, if they just show her how much they care, she'll eventually see their value and reciprocate their feelings. But that's not how attraction works. Attraction isn't logical. It's not a math equation where more effort equals more interest. In fact, the opposite is often true. When you chase someone who isn't chasing you back, when you pursue someone who's giving you mixed signals, when you keep trying to win over someone who's lukewarm about you, you're not demonstrating your value. You're demonstrating your scarcity mindset. You're communicating, I don't believe I can find someone who's excited about me, so I'm going to cling to this person who's barely interested. Smart men don't do this. They understand that attraction must be bilateral. It must flow both ways. And if it's not, they're not interested in forcing it. This is incredibly powerful psychologically, because when you're willing to walk away from someone who isn't matching your energy, when you're willing to say, I'm interested, but I'm not desperate, when you refuse to chase someone who's playing games, you flip the script entirely. Suddenly, you're not the pursuer anymore. You're the prize. You're the one with standards. You're the one who values yourself enough not to settle for half-hearted interest. And here's what happens when you do this consistently. Women who were playing games suddenly stop playing. Women who were testing you suddenly stop testing. Women who were lukewarm suddenly heat up. Because they realize you're not like other men. You won't tolerate being treated as an option. You won't stick around for breadcrumbs of attention. This doesn't mean you're cold or uncaring. It means you have self-respect. You're willing to be interested, but you're not willing to be humiliated. You're willing to pursue, but you're not willing to chase someone who's running away. That boundary, that refusal to chase love that isn't mutual, is perhaps the most attractive quality a man can have, because it communicates everything: confidence, options, self-respect, emotional intelligence. And women notice. Even if they don't consciously realize it, they feel it. And they respond to it. These 4 refusals aren't about domination. They're about emotional self-respect. And emotional self-respect is magnetic. Women don't fall for men who say yes to everything. They fall for men who say no to the wrong things and yes to themselves. If you master these 4 boundaries, you won't have to chase women. Women will pursue you. Curious, fascinated, drawn to your energy. And trust me, most men will never learn these principles. But you just did. Let me be clear about something. These refusals aren't about being difficult or playing hard to get. They're not tactics or tricks. They're genuine boundaries that high-value men naturally maintain because they respect themselves. When you refuse to overinvest in low-effort women, you're saying, my energy is valuable. When you refuse emotional manipulation, you're saying, I won't be controlled through guilt or games. When you refuse to abandon your purpose, you're saying, I'm more than just a potential boyfriend. I'm a man with a mission. When you refuse to chase love that isn't mutual, you're saying, I value myself enough to require reciprocation. These aren't harsh statements, they're healthy ones. They're the foundation of masculine energy that naturally attracts feminine energy. And here's the beautiful part. When you implement these boundaries, you don't just become more attractive to women, you become more satisfied with yourself. You stop feeling anxious in dating. You stop feeling like you're performing or auditioning for approval. You start operating from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. Because you know your worth, you know your standards, you know what you won't tolerate, and that certainty is visible in everything you do. It's in your walk, your voice, your energy, your decisions. Women sense it immediately. They can feel when they're dealing with a man who has standards versus a man who's desperate. They can tell when they're with someone who values himself versus someone who's seeking validation, and they gravitate toward the former, always. So take these 4 refusals seriously, internalize them, make them part of who you are, not as tactics to deploy, but as genuine boundaries that reflect your self-respect. When you do, everything changes. The way women respond to you, the way they pursue you, the way they respect you, the quality of women you attract, the quality of relationships you build, all because you learn to say no to the things that diminish you and yes to the things that elevate you. If you found this video powerful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the other videos for deeper psychology, mindset upgrades, and real attraction secrets. Your evolution starts now, because understanding these principles is just the beginning. There's an entire world of masculine psychology, attraction dynamics, and relationship intelligence waiting for you to explore. The men who dominate in dating aren't lucky. They're educated. They understand how attraction actually works beneath the surface. They've studied the psychology. They've implemented the principles. They've become the kind of men that women naturally pursue. And now you're on that path too. Every video on this channel is designed to give you that same edge, to help you understand the hidden dynamics of attraction, to teach you the boundaries that create desire, to show you how to become the kind of man that women can't help but be drawn to. So don't stop here. Keep learning, keep growing, keep evolving into the highest version of yourself, because the world needs more men who understand these principles, men who have standards, men who respect themselves, men who refuse to tolerate what diminishes them. Be that man, starting today.